I tried on my sister's skirt. Now her boyfriend won't stop texting me. The afternoon sun filtered through the half-closed blinds of my bedroom, casting warm stripes across the floor. My room, usually a quiet sanctuary filled with books, headphones, and the faint smell of old cologne, suddenly felt smaller, more intimate, and somehow more daring. I sat on the edge of my bed, holding the soft, unfamiliar fabric in my hands, a skirt that belonged to my sister, Olivia. Its silky texture, light pastel colors, and the delicate lace trimming sent a shiver of excitement and fear down my spine. I had always been curious about crossdressing, not out of some fleeting interest, but a deeper, almost magnetic pull toward exploring that side of myself. For years, I'd watched videos, read stories, and imagined what it would feel like to slip into women's clothing, to walk in their shoes, to look in the mirror and see something entirely new reflected back. But today felt different. Today, it wasn't just curiosity, it was temptation. And my sister's skirt was the first step into an unknown world I could no longer resist. My name is Ryan. I'm 23, a college graduate trying to navigate adult life, while hiding this secret part of myself from almost everyone. I work at a small tech startup downtown, where my days are spent buried in code, attending meetings, and occasionally sipping way too strong coffee from the office machine. My coworkers see me as a dependable, low-profile guy, hardly the type who'd sneak into skirts and high heels in the privacy of his room. It's a contrast I cherish. Two lives, neatly separated and carefully hidden from each other. The skirt trembled in my hands, almost as if it were alive, whispering promises I couldn't resist. I remembered the morning earlier that week when I stumbled across Olivia's wardrobe. She was away at a college seminar, and the door had been left slightly ajar, a mistake I knew I shouldn't exploit. Yet when I saw the skirt, I couldn't help myself. The soft blush fabric, the way it seemed almost tailor-made for someone daring enough to wear it, it called to me. And there was Emma, my girlfriend of 3 years. Sweet, understanding, yet unpredictable. Emma loved surprises, sometimes a little too much, and had an uncanny way of sensing when I was hiding something from her. She adored fashion, had a killer Instagram account, and often dragged me into shopping sprees I would never have volunteered for. But today, Emma was out with friends, completely unaware of the little secret adventure I was about to embark on. I carefully held the skirt against my waist, imagining how it would feel. My heart raced as my fingers brushed the fabric's silky edge, and a part of me whispered that this was forbidden, dangerous even. Yet another, louder part urged me to embrace it, to finally see what it would be like, if only for a few minutes, to step into someone else's shoes. The room was silent except for the faint hum of my laptop, open to a paused video tutorial on makeup tips for beginners. I had bookmarked it weeks ago, thinking I'd never use it. Now it felt like a lifeline. I placed the skirt carefully on the bed, smoothing out the wrinkles, and then hesitated. Could I actually do it? Could I really transform, even for a short time, and see myself differently? I stripped off my casual t-shirt, the air tingling against my bare skin. The skirt slipped up my legs, the waistband tight but comfortable, hugging me in ways that felt both strange and intoxicating. I twirled slowly in front of my full-length mirror, watching my reflection with wide eyes. The soft fabric swished around my thighs, and for the first time, I didn't just see Ryan. I saw someone else. Someone bold, daring, a little vulnerable, yet undeniably alluring. My hands shook as I adjusted the skirt, then glanced at the makeup tutorial on my laptop. It seemed simple enough: light foundation, a touch of mascara, neutral lips. I had never worn makeup before, and the thought terrified and thrilled me in equal measure. But as I picked up the small brush, carefully applying color, I felt a subtle transformation, not just in appearance, but in confidence, in identity. The more I touched my face, the more I realized that this wasn't just play. This was a discovery of a hidden side of me, a part one had kept locked away for years. Then came the thought that would change everything: Olivia's boyfriend, Jake. Charming, flirty, and completely oblivious to my secret desires. I remembered the subtle compliments he once gave Olivia, how he liked the way her skirt swayed, the teasing look in his eyes when she twirled. And suddenly, a thought, both thrilling and terrifying, struck me. What if Jake noticed me? What if he didn't see Ryan at all, but someone entirely different? I shook my head, trying to focus. It was one thing to experiment in private. It was another to imagine someone else, especially Jake, noticing me this way. Yet, deep down, a small voice whispered that this was exactly why I had been drawn to the skirt in the first place. The thrill of being seen, even if only in fleeting moments. The room seemed smaller now, charged with tension and expectation. I adjusted the skirt one last time, smoothed my hair, and examined my reflection. My heart pounded in my chest, a mix of fear, excitement, and something I couldn't quite name. I was about to step into a world where boundaries blurred, where secrets and desires intertwined, and where one simple decision, trying on my sister's skirt, would unleash a chain of events I couldn't possibly predict. Emma wouldn't know. Olivia wouldn't know. But Jake. Jake might just be the spark that ignites the fire. And as I took a deep breath, looking at myself in the mirror, I whispered softly, "Let's see how far this goes." The afternoon sun waned, leaving streaks of gold and amber across my bedroom floor. I sat on the edge of my bed, skirt still hugging my waist, staring at my reflection. The thrill from my first attempt at crossdressing hadn't faded. It had only grown. My heartbeat was erratic, a mixture of excitement, fear, and something dangerously intoxicating. I'd always been careful, discreet, and private about my curiosity, but now I felt it spilling over, demanding attention. I glanced at the laptop screen, where the makeup tutorial still paused. Nervously, I picked up a small compact powder. My hands trembled slightly as I dabbed it onto my cheeks, trying to mimic the smooth, natural finish shown by the model on the video. Each brush stroke felt transformative. I wasn't just Ryan anymore. I was someone softer, more alluring, someone capable of capturing attention in ways I had only ever imagined. Then came my hair. Olivia's long wig lay coiled beside the mirror. It was thick, brown, and slightly curled at the ends. Placing it on my head, I adjusted it slowly, the strands brushing my shoulders like a whisper. I had never felt so vulnerable and empowered at the same time. Looking at the reflection, I barely recognized myself. The person staring back had delicate features accentuated by subtle makeup, a playful softness in their eyes, and a skirt that swished gracefully with every small movement. And yet, beneath the excitement lurked anxiety. What if someone saw me? What if Emma came home early? She adored fashion and had a sharp eye for details. If she caught me like this, there would be questions I wasn't ready to answer. My mind raced, oscillating between exhilaration and panic. Each passing second felt like a tightrope walk, thrilling yet terrifying. I paced slowly across the room, feeling the skirt sway with every step. The sensation was unlike anything I'd experienced before. Soft, lightweight fabric brushing against my thighs, the subtle pressure at my waist. It was intimate, almost electric. A small part of me wanted to stay here forever, lost in this world of fabric, makeup, and reflection. But reality intruded in the form of my phone buzzing on the desk. It was a message from Jake, Olivia's boyfriend. "Hey, can you grab a coffee later?" I froze, my mind spinning. Why would he text me? He didn't know I was here, in my sister's clothes, experimenting with this secret side of myself. But then a mischievous thought crept in. What if I responded differently? What if I sent a selfie, just a teasing little one? My pulse quickened at the idea. The thrill of being noticed, the danger of exposure, it was intoxicating. Before I could stop myself, I picked up my phone and snapped a quick picture. My reflection framed the shot perfectly, the wig falling softly over one shoulder, the skirt swaying, subtle makeup highlighting my eyes. A bold caption formed in my mind. "Trying something new today." I hesitated. The fingers hovering over send felt heavy with consequence. Finally, I pressed it, and the message zipped across the digital space to Jake's phone. The second I did, a rush of adrenaline coursed through me. I was exposed. Yet, the thrill of being seen, even by him, was undeniable. Minutes later, my phone buzzed again. I almost didn't dare look. Jake's reply was simple. "Wow, didn't know you had it in you." I felt heat rise to my cheeks. The emojis, the tone, they suggested he was intrigued, maybe even a little flirted by my transformation. I sank onto the bed, gripping the skirt's waistband tightly. Part of me was elated. Part of me was terrified. This was dangerous. Yet I couldn't stop myself from smiling. The excitement, the forbidden thrill, was addictive. I decided to push further. I experimented with poses, taking more photos, adjusting my stance in front of the mirror. My fingers brushed against the skirt, tugging slightly to see how it fell, how it flowed. The reflection staring back at me grew bolder, more confident with each movement. It wasn't just about the clothes or makeup anymore. It was about discovering a new version of myself, a side of me I hadn't dared to explore until now. But the tension lingered. Emma could walk in at any moment, and I wasn't ready for her to see this. My secret world and my real life were dangerously close to colliding. I imagined her reaction. Shock, confusion, maybe even judgment. And yet, another part of me craved her approval, the idea that even she might find this side of me appealing. As the afternoon stretched into early evening, my phone buzzed again. Another message from Jake, more insistent this time. "You look incredible, can we meet? Just you and me?" My stomach twisted. I knew this was a line I shouldn't cross. Olivia's boyfriend and my sister's skirt. That combination was dangerous. Yet the temptation, the thrill, was overwhelming. I had already started down this path, and the thought of turning back now seemed impossible. The suspense tightened around me like a rope. Every sound outside my room, the creak of the floorboards, the faint laughter from the living room, made my heart race. I was alone, yet not alone, caught between excitement and fear. I felt the fabric of the skirt against my skin, grounding me, reminding me of the transformation I was experiencing. I decided to go one step further. Slipping into Olivia's heels, I wobbled slightly, adjusting to the unfamiliar height. Each step became a practice in balance, poise, and self-confidence. The skirt swayed delicately, the wig framing my face, makeup subtly enhancing my features. In that moment, I felt a thrilling duality, vulnerable, yet undeniably empowered. Hours seemed to blur. I experimented with selfies, poses, and expressions, sending teasing messages to Jake, who responded with increasing enthusiasm. The tension escalated with every notification. Each buzz of my phone sent my pulse skyrocketing. What if Emma returned early? What if Olivia walked in? Each scenario raced through my mind, heightening the suspense, amplifying the thrill of being caught, or the terror of exposure. By nightfall, I found myself sitting on the edge of the bed, skirt swaying gently around my thighs, heels slightly pinching my feet, wig slightly askew, makeup flawless yet delicate. My phone buzzed again, and I realized I couldn't ignore it. Jake had sent another message, this time more direct. "You need to come out for a quick coffee. I can't stop thinking about you like this." My heart pounded. The choice was mine. Retreat back into safety, strip off the skirt, and pretend none of this ever happened, or step further into this world, risking exposure, yet embracing the thrill and the transformation I had grown addicted to. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and realized that I was no longer just experimenting. I was stepping into a reality where my desires, my fears, and my secret identity were colliding in ways I couldn't control. And in that tension, the suspense became almost unbearable. I was on the edge of something irreversible, teetering between excitement and danger, ready to explore just how far this new identity could take me. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the blinds, painting stripes across my bedroom floor. My reflection in the mirror greeted me, wig perfectly styled, makeup subtle yet defined, skirt swishing lightly with every movement. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Jake. "Meet me at the cafe? Can't wait." I hesitated. My heart raced. This was no longer a harmless game of selfies and secret texts. Meeting him meant stepping fully into the risky world I had created, exposing myself in a way I wasn't sure I could control. Yet the thrill pulsed through my veins. My reflection seemed to smirk back at me, teasing and daring me simultaneously. I slipped into Olivia's heels carefully, testing each step. The skirt clung gently to my waist, flowing softly down to mid-thigh. I practiced my posture, swaying slightly, trying to capture the elegance I had seen in countless fashion posts. I felt both vulnerable and empowered, a combination that made every nerve in my body hum with tension. By the time I reached the cafe, my hands shook slightly. I spotted Jake immediately. He waved, eyes lighting up as if seeing a new side of me for the first time. I swallowed hard and approached, heels clicking softly on the pavement. My stomach churned with anticipation and fear. What would people think? Would anyone recognize me? Jake's grin widened as I reached him. "Wow, you really went all out," he said, voice low and teasing. I felt a blush rise to my cheeks. I just wanted to try something new," I murmured. My words sounded small, almost fragile, but the thrill of being seen this way bolstered a boldness I hadn't expected. We ordered coffee, and as we sat across from each other, the atmosphere thickened with tension. Jake's gaze lingered, appreciative, flirtatious. I noticed my heart beating faster, palms sweating inside my gloves. Every sip, every glance, every subtle touch of his hand brushing mine sent a rush of adrenaline through me. Then it happened. A familiar voice rang out, "Olivia." My chest tightened instantly. She was approaching, phone in hand, her expression unreadable. The skirt suddenly felt constrictive, the heels cumbersome. I wanted to run, to disappear, but there was no escape. "Ryan." Olivia's voice was sharp. She stopped just short of our table, eyes narrowing as she took in my transformed appearance. Jake froze too, and I felt a wave of panic. My secret, my thrill, everything I had embraced over the past day, hung in the balance. What are you wearing?" Olivia demanded, her tone a mix of shock and confusion. I stammered, unable to form a coherent response. My hands gripped the edge of the table. I just wanted to try something different. My voice barely carried over the hum of the cafe. Jake, sensing the danger, leaned slightly forward, trying to diffuse the tension. It's just a bit of fun. No harm meant." Olivia's eyes softened slightly, but remained skeptical. "Ryan, this is my skirt. And my boyfriend." The word struck me like ice. The stakes had shifted from playful experimentation to potential disaster. I felt my cheeks burn hotter, a mix of embarrassment and shame swirling with the thrill I had once craved. Jake, however, didn't retreat. "I like it," he admitted, voice low and sincere. "You look amazing." Olivia's gaze darted between us. Amazing, but inappropriate. "Ryan, you have to understand. This crosses lines." My heart pounded. The surreal, intoxicating high of being admired, of feeling desired, clashed violently with the fear of judgment and exposure. My entire world teetered on a knife's edge. As we sat in tense silence, a waitress approached with our coffees. Her glance lingered briefly, polite yet curious. My reflection in the tabletop caught my eye, skirt swaying, makeup flawless, a persona fully alive yet dangerously exposed. Every movement, every flick of hair, every subtle gesture magnified the suspense of the moment. Then, without warning, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A new message from Jake. "You're irresistible. Come over tonight." I froze. My pulse spiked. Saying yes meant diving further into danger. Saying no risked losing the thrill that had become intoxicating. My fingers trembled as I locked the screen, hiding the device beneath the table. Olivia noticed the movement. "Ryan," she said, softer now, almost pleading, "think carefully about what you're doing." Her words struck deep. I was caught between two worlds, desire and responsibility, thrill and consequence. The cafe seemed to shrink around me, every whisper, every movement magnified. My mind raced with possibilities. Leave now, retreat into safety. or push forward and risk everything. The tension escalated further when Jake, attempting a playful gesture, lightly brushed his fingers over mine. The contact sent an electric jolt through me, heightening the suspense. Olivia's expression hardened, a mixture of disappointment and concern etched across her face. I knew then that this moment would define everything. The choices I made in the next seconds could alter relationships, reputations, and my own sense of self forever. Every nerve in my body screamed, every heartbeat echoed in my ears. I was no longer just experimenting. I was living on the edge of revelation and risk, teetering on a line that could break at any instant. The cafe's door opened abruptly, letting in a gust of wind and a stranger who glanced briefly at us. Every eye felt intrusive, every movement magnified. I shifted in my seat, heels slightly pinching, skirts swaying. The symbolic moment of vulnerability, the very essence of my transformation, was laid bare. And just as I was about to speak, to decide, the stranger's gaze lingered a second too long. My reflection in the window caught my eye, two selves staring back. Ryan, the cautious, hidden version of me, and the transformed, bold persona that had captivated Jake. The duality was stark, thrilling, and terrifying. I realized in that instant that the suspense had reached its peak. Every possibility hung in balance: confrontation, revelation, temptation, or retreat. And I knew, deep down, that the story wasn't over. It was only about to reach its most explosive moment. The cafe felt suffocating. Every sound, the clatter of cups, distant laughter, even the low hum of the espresso machine, seemed amplified, pressing down on me. I could feel Olivia's eyes burning into me, a mix of worry and disbelief. Jake's gaze, meanwhile, held something dangerous: anticipation, desire, and the thrill of the forbidden. I shifted in my seat, heels pinching, skirts swaying with every nervous movement. My wig felt slightly loose, a strand threatening to escape. My reflection in the window across from us caught my eye, showing two versions of myself: Ryan, the cautious, everyday version, and this daring, transformed persona that had captured Jake's attention. The duality was stark, and the tension between them almost unbearable. Olivia leaned forward, her voice low but firm. "Ryan, you can't keep doing this. It's one thing to experiment, but this crosses a line. My boyfriend, this isn't safe." I opened my mouth to respond, but Jake interjected with a soft laugh. "Relax, Olivia. He's just exploring. Isn't that part of the fun?" Fun. The word echoed mockingly in my mind. Was this fun or a dangerous game I was no longer in control of? My hands trembled as I gripped the edge of the table, feeling the weight of every decision I had made. Every text, every selfie, every daring step into heels had led me here, to this moment of suspended reality. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. I tried to ignore it, but Jake's smirk told me he hadn't forgotten. My pulse quickened as I glimpsed the notification, a message from someone I hadn't expected. Not Jake. Not Olivia. "I know what you're doing. I'm coming over." The words hit me like a thunderclap. My stomach lurched. I knew immediately who it was: my sister. She had a knack for noticing things, and I had been sloppy, leaving small clues in my room, in the photos I had shared online. Panic surged through me. Olivia's gaze snapped to my phone. "Who is it?" she demanded. I froze, unable to answer. The suspense of the unknown clawed at me. If my sister arrived, she would see everything: the skirt, the makeup, the heels, the flirtatious texts. Everything I had hidden, every secret thrill, could be exposed in an instant. Jake leaned back, unconcerned, but I could see the faint worry flicker in his eyes. He didn't fully understand the stakes, but he sensed the shift in the air, the sudden crack in the delicate balance I had maintained. I glanced at Olivia, whose expression softened slightly. "Ryan, maybe it's time to decide. This could get messy." Every instinct screamed at me: run, hide, retreat. Yet a part of me, the part that had reveled in the thrill, the attention, the transformation, wanted to push forward. to test boundaries, to see just how far I could go. The cafe door opened. A gust of wind swept inside, carrying with it the unmistakable presence I had feared. I froze, heart hammering in my chest. Every eye, every sound, every subtle movement of my skirt and wig felt magnified. Olivia leaned closer, whispering, "Brace yourself." I didn't need to look. I already knew who was there. The suspense was unbearable, the thrill mingling with fear so tightly that it was hard to breathe. My reflection in the glass stared back at me, two selves, one poised, daring, and completely exposed, the other cautious, vulnerable, and terrified. And then, just as my sister's shadow appeared in the doorway, my phone buzzed again. Another message from Jake. "Don't worry, I've got you." I felt torn between relief and dread. The tension in the room was almost unbearable. Would she discover the truth? Would my secret be shattered in front of both Jake and Olivia? Or could I somehow navigate this storm, maintaining my new persona while protecting everything I had built? Time seemed to slow. Every heartbeat echoed in my ears. Every blink, every breath, every swish of my skirt became a countdown to exposure. And then the screen went black. The cliffhanger was complete. The suspense left unresolved, the characters frozen in a moment of uncertainty. The audience was left wondering. Would my sister see me and expose my secret? How would Olivia react if the truth came out? Could Jake's support hold me together? Or would it make the situation even more dangerous? And, most importantly, what choice would I make in the next pivotal moment? This unresolved tension ensures viewers are left on the edge of their seats, desperate to know what happens next.